'Tis the 28th of the 8th, 2024. The time is 10 o'clock, and in the weird and wacky world of the one that F's, there is news on Adrian Newey. So too Martin Brundle hypothesising on Carlos Sainz's contract situation, saying that potentially Carlos Sainz, being the great F1 mind that he is, that he might have opportunity, clause in his contract even, to pursue pastures anew. Already, yes, already. Christian Horner turning the screw on McLaren, now realising that they are the other protagonists in this Constructors' Championship story as of 2024. It gets techie. Let's talk about Newey first, because we all thought it was done, right? That Aston Martin was it. Once upon a time, it was supposed to be McLaren. We theorised that it would be an old boy reunion club because Marshall is there, because Mark Webber, who was best man at Adrian Newey's wedding, is also there as manager of Oscar Jack Piastri. However, now it appears that Aston Martin are the favourites. We know that there was the exclusive tour. Lawrence Stroll told everybody to get out, that this is Adrian Newey's time, that we need to show him, have him invested in this project that is the Martin, the Astons, show him that the 250 million factory, show him the wind tunnel that will come online at the back end of this year, that we have Alonso, and Adrian Newey has spoken about this ad infinitum, that he harboured aspirations to drive, to make cars even for Fernando Plan Alonso, the man from Oviedo, Asturias, and yet and still as at 0824, I think that Aston Martin are still the favourites. We saw the bloody game that Pedro de la Rosa was playing with Fernando Plan Alonso. He said, listen, somebody will come that you will, somebody might come that you will like, and Fernando Alonso instantly guessed Adrian Newey. But why would Pedro de la Rosa, as an ambassador of Aston Martin who would have insider information, why would he need to change the tenses, the conjugation of the verb, unless he had information? But I speculate. This is conjecture each and every single time. But for the avoidance of doubt, all F1 publications are made equally, but some, they say, are more equal than others. And Andrew Benson is one of the go-test ones, is he not, as far as reliability and integrity. And he's written thus in his Q&A, the question: which team is most likely to snap at the services of Adrian Newey next year, or will Newey himself have a preference in the late stages of his career? To which Andrew Benson of the BBC writes this: this is one of the most interesting topics in F1 and one of the most uncertain. Yes, no kidding, Sherlock. When Newey announced he was leaving Red Bull, a number of teams seemed to be in the running to sign him, but they have gradually fallen by the wayside one by one. To whom is he referring? Well, of course, it was first Ferrari. They said that they were in, that Lewis Hamilton was going to have a key part to play. And again, Adrian Newey has written in his book and said on more than one occasions that on his F1 bucket list of things that he wanted to do, it was work with Lewis Hamilton, work with Ferrari, or for Ferrari even, and work with Fernando Alonso. The theory, of course, was that if he went across the Scuderia Ferrari Maranello settings, that he would nail two of those bucket list items. Lewis Hamilton, tick. Ferrari, prestige, heritage, tick. However, since then, Eddie Jordan has said some things, right? Eddie Jordan said at an exhibition, a yacht expo, that when we get the next contract from Zach Brown or whoever it may be, then we're going to get you a new bike, Adrian Newey, because that current one's not very good. Zach Brown, that must mean McLaren then. We said, well, that depends on who you're listening to, right? Because again, Adrian Newey harbours aspirations of turning around a team. Why would he then go to McLaren, who are already on the up and up, courtesy of the legend that is Rob Marshall? Rob Marshall being one of the go-to technical minds that have ever technicaled in the one that F's. Do you know what I mean? Why would Adrian Newey go there then? How much of that story could he take credit for? And then you hear about the exclusive factory tour, and that Lawrence Stroll, the chap who said when he gets passionate about anything, he wins. He throws cash at these problems, hundreds of millions in terms of cash. They have the backing of Aramco, so money won't be a thing. If it's 100 million you want over the course of 4 years, Adrian Newey, then Aston Martin is the place that you want to be at. First, it became clear that Ferrari, Andrew Benson talking now, of course. First, it became clear that Ferrari was not going to happen. Why? Well, because Adrian Newey wanted too much, didn't he? He wanted the power of veto, the power to hire and fire any of the engineers with whom he worked. And Frederic Vasseurs not having that. Does that sound like a thing that Scuderia Ferrari would make a concession for? Scuderia Ferrari being stubborn, nothing if not bureaucratic, nothing if not people focused. Why would Frederic Vasseur make Adrian Newey a team principal of sorts? Frederic Vasseur's never going to do that. Scuderia Ferrari are never going to have that. And that's why the Adrian Newey to Ferrari fiasco has indeed fallen by the wayside as at August 2024. Then, says Andrew Benson of BBC, McLaren Chief Executive Officer Zak Brown said about signing Adrian Newey that they were not going to take him. Zak Brown's comments were something to the effect of they have a team already in place and they don't want to disturb it. Zak Brown said, Zak and Frederic Vasseur said, basically, that what they didn't want to do is the Galacticos thing, you know, the thing that Real Madrid did many moons ago, signing all the best people. Frederic Vasseur made the analogy that PSG had Mbappe, they had Lionel Messi, they had all of the best players in the world, Neymar included, but they still couldn't win themselves a Champions League. The allegory, therefore, the Aesop's fable, therefore, being that they didn't want to overdo the aerodynamic broth, and that maybe the team that they had in situ already is better off without Adrian Newey. I do not disagree. I cannot agree even with that blasphemy. Adrian Newey being one of the best that we've ever seen. Leighton House March 881 settings. Benson continues. Aston Martin have made him an offer, which Adrian Newey is evaluating in real time. Oh, the humanity. Williams, however, where Newey first achieved success in F1 between 1991 and 1996, have expressed their interest, and Alpine have now also entered the race. This is Andrew Benson talking, not hearsay. Andrew Benson say, oh, the humanity, what do we make of that? Williams and Alpine. Surely Adrian Newey won't go there. Well, you know what? To be honest with you, stranger things have happened. This is F1 for Pete's sake. Piranha's tank settings, where the unknown, listen, Murray Walker said it, didn't he? Where anything can happen, and it usually does. Would you rule this out? Absolutely not. Is it the most likely outcome? Absolutely not. Andrew Benson continues. Newey is also said to have had pretty, verbatim, because this is important, to have had pretty extensive talks with Alpine executive advisor Flavio Briatore. The 65-year-old is still believed, however, Adrian Newey to be evaluating his options. Now, why does the Briatore chat matter? Surely Adrian Newey wouldn't find himself at Alpine with all of that uncertainty, not knowing whether they're going to be an engine manufacturer going forward. Their driver pairing's not fantastic, not long having lost Esteban Ocon. Surely Adrian Newey's not going to want to develop cars for them. For a French manufacturer who don't know where they stand in the automotive landscape, surely Adrian Newey's not going to want to go there. What, over Aston Martin? And I would agree with that thesis. But lest we forget, the only reason why Flavio Briatore is there as an executive advisor or executive director, depending on who you want to believe, is to get things done, to make things happen, Chiba, to get things over the line. Who said that he was the guy to do that? Well, if past his prologue, you only need to look back at his record, right? He was a fashion guy. Look what he did with Benetton and Schumacher. 1995, 96 setting, or 94 and 95 settings even. He's a guy who gets it done. I only need to go and talk to Bernie Eccleston because he was the one who put in the recommendation to Alpine that this guy can help you, take you back to the promised land and get you some silverware. So it would be remiss of me to rule this out, that Flavio Briatore is capable of signing himself one Adrian Newey. Oh, the humanity. F1 just gets techier and techier. How unlikely does that sound? But again, listen, for the avoidance of doubt, to quote the immortal Murray Walker, anything can happen in the one that F's. and it usually does.